The main aim of our short film was to create a big target audience which would hopefully increase views and in time increase profit for us. So I decided to produce a quick questionnaire which just asked people what was their favourite genre, what was their least favourite genre, and what they would consider to be the most successful genre. Because this doesn't limit the amount of people we see. Whereas if we did it on a Monday afternoon, most people would be at work at school and you wouldn't get a big variety. The favourite genre was drama and romance. They were both the two highest. Horror and musical, so we decided that it would be best to just rule that out completely. And the genre that people thought that would be most likely to be successful was again drama. And because drama occurred to be the most successful and the most favoured, we thought that is a gap in the market. Also, we used SurveyMonkey to do a target audience questionnaire. Because it was an online survey, we used Facebook and Twitter to promote it. We could just add the link in. So it's an easier way than, like I said, handing out questionnaires in town. In total, we did 7 questions just to give us a bit of variety. We didn't want too many questions because then people get bored and just start clicking and not give us good feedback that was their genuine opinion. We didn't want only like 2 questions because it wouldn't really help us. We needed a good amount of questions that would help us in the guidance of making our film. Question 1 was, does music enhance the emotion of a character? 100% said yes. I went onto YouTube and found an example of a video that used a lot of music throughout and less speech, and just had a look at the way how they did it when the music started, how it built up. Question 2 was, the type of instrument stereotypically would you use in a sad film? Piano and violin was 75% of the votes. I think we had about 22 people that did the questionnaire in total. Electric guitar received no votes. So this gave us huge guidance because we knew exactly now what music we were looking for. So question 3, for a sad film, would you use a large or small cast? We got 25% said large cast, 75% said small cast. We kind of had it in our head that a small cast works better. You almost feel like you've got a friendship with them. If there's too many characters, you don't really know who's who, whereas in a sad film you want to be able to connect with them, so it would make you feel even more sympathy for them. Question 4 was asking about grieving and what age would you be most upset to see. The one that received the highest amount of votes was the age range of being between 8 to 12 years old. That determined for us which age range we were going to use. Question 5 was, do you prefer lots of locations or minimal locations for a sad film? And we had 75% said minimal, 25% said lots of variety of locations. We decided a total of 8, which when cropped and edited together, you don't notice how many different locations that we actually did film in. Question 6, do you prefer less speech or more speech? 20% said more, 80% said less. Previously we'd asked in question 1, do you want music? 100% said yes, so it was out of the question we were going to have music. And if we had constant speech over this music, it wouldn't have really worked. We wanted the music to enhance the emotions more than the speech did, so we decided to have less speech in the script. Question 7, who do girls have a stronger bond with, mother or father? The response we got was quite average. It was 14 out of 22 people said they had a stronger bond with their mother, and 6 out of 22 said their father. We just decided it's better to go with a mother. It helped us understand what people wanted to see, so we could have just gone in there with our own version of what we wanted to see, and it would be quite opinionated. We needed something that would attract the larger target audience, which would in turn increase views, build up a big reputation, and creates a good portfolio for us. So by using the questionnaire, it gave us good guidance of what we should have used in the film and confidence. One thing that we did just previously discuss was we should have, but after we have created our film, we did speak, like we showed our family and stuff and our friends, but we didn't actually get like any hard feedback. We should have created another questionnaire asking, would you have changed anything? Was there good points, bad points, and had them write it out so we could analyse it and on our next one be a lot better. I would have liked to have done more quick questionnaire copies, but it was a quick questionnaire for a reason. We just wanted to get a general idea 8 copies. It wasn't a lot. Like, if I'd have done another 10 copies, it could have changed the results completely. Another thing I would have done differently is just determine what we considered as a minimal location and what was considered as a lot. Because someone who thought, oh, 10 locations is a lot, someone else might have thought, oh, 10 locations isn't a lot, and they could have both thought of 10 locations but both answered different options. I think another thing that would have been good for us was more questions on editing, so in terms of filters, camera movements, because we relied heavily on analysis of that. Also, I think we could have done a mid-editing questionnaire to see what people think of what we had done so far, which I think could have helped us, because we just looked at our target audience, followed that guidance, edited it, and then left it at that. Throughout the pre-production, production and post-production, me and my partner used a wide variety of media platforms and softwares to ensure that our short film would meet the industry standards and have a professional finish. Fortunately, a lot of the technologies that we did use we'd already used previously last year to create a music magazine, and therefore we were already quite familiar with some of the techniques and tools. The pre-production planning was the time period of when we used probably the most technologies, as we had to research and practice with a lot of softwares and equipment. Firstly, we had to create a new blog site on WordPress, which is where we'd have to present all our work and show the progress through our stages. This is a great way to keep everything organised and keep the layout professional. Not only does it support us reflecting on our progression, but also when editing posts, everything is all in the same place and it is accessible everywhere, only providing though that there is an internet connection. Previous tasks, we carried all of our work on a memory stick and often lost it. Before deciding what we wanted our short film genre to be based on, we researched into all the different types. In order to do this, we used Google as a search engine. This was also used for other tasks, such as finding professional posters and reviews to analyse and finding map images of all the locations that we'll be filming at. When struggling with what genre we were going to be basing our film on, I decided to create a small, quick questionnaire to ask the public which genre is their least and most favourite, but also which they would feel is going to be the most successful. To do this, I used Microsoft Office Publisher. I was already familiar with this software and had no trouble in creating questionnaires that looked professional. Another media technology that we used was SurveyMonkey to create our online target audience questionnaire. We decided to use this as it's well known, so it's trusted, so people will know that it's a safe questionnaire and there'll be no problems using it. It can be distributed online as well, so there'll be no issue by sending it out to any target audience that we wanted. Whereas if we were in like a town, it would only strictly be whoever lives there, not the wider target audience which we needed. Another one that we used was YouTube. We did this to analyse our films because we had to select some certain films that fitted our genre, and we decided to analyse them to see how they used certain generic conventions and then put them into our film. We used YouTube as well to upload practice footages that we'd previously recorded to test out things like running and the car coming closer, just to make sure that it was okay to use and the lighting and the location was okay. We decided to use YouTube because it's a good source, it's free, it's on all computers providing there is an internet connection, so we could access it anywhere we wanted, and it's a well-trusted website as well. Moving on to the production of it, we used a camera. This was to do practice footage, which was also mentioned in pre-production, and to actually film the final cuts itself. The camera itself allowed us to edit the focus, edit the new balance so we can ensure that everything was the same colour throughout. We were given a tripod as well, which had a spirit level in it, so we were ensured that our footage that we were filming wasn't wonky or unbalanced. Also, the tripods had grips at the bottom, so if we were filming on the graveyard, for example, they allowed spikes to just come out of the bottom, so there wasn't any possibility of it falling over. It was well gripped into the ground. Because it was a college camera, we were given advice and we could come in at any time because there was people that we could ask for help if we needed it. Whereas if it was our own camera, we would probably have to work it out ourselves and read through instruction manuals, and it would get a bit more complicated. One of the other media technologies that we did use was Adobe Premiere, which was completely new to us both. We haven't used it before at all, But last year we were given the option to do a practice run, just to ensure that when it came down to our final editing of our reel film, we would know a bit away, like our way around it, and the tools and techniques that we would need. We decided to use this media technology because it's a professional programme, so we'll be able to compete with the real short films out there. So through the production as well, we had to use Photoshop, which we used to create our poster and review. We had used this as well last year to do our music magazine, so we were familiar with some of the tools. It's a professional software again, so everything that we did produce was to a high quality standard and would able to us to compete with the others that are out there. Overall, all of our media platforms and technologies that we did use were really good, and we found them really helpful. The ones that were most useful, I'd say, was YouTube, because it enabled us to get a huge variety of even past media A-level short films, so we were able to see what to expect and what other people have been able to do. The second one that I found really useful was Adobe Premiere. We used this one for editing. This is a really professional software that we used. It enabled us to produce a really professional finish, and I was really pleased with the outcome. Also SurveyMonkey, which was another media technology we used it to distribute a questionnaire online. This was really useful because it enabled us to understand what our audience wanted. Not only that, but it analysed it for us. We could log back onto it and it would tell us the results and the percentages and how many of the people that did answer our questionnaire thought a certain thing. The final thing that I found most useful was the camera and tripod. If we decided to go out and buy a cheaper one, for example, it wouldn't have been the same high quality and it might have lagged, and because on the cameras that we did use we were able to decide how many pictures per second the recording would take. We used SurveyMonkey over a paper questionnaire, which although we did use as a quick questionnaire at the start, it's so much easier and it saves a lot of time as well. It took a long time to create the quick questionnaire that I did on Publisher, go out, collect all the data back up, whereas on SurveyMonkey it's automatic, you can send it to whoever, you're not in control of how many numbers of replies you will get back, whereas on paper questionnaires you're limited because it depends on how much you print out. Also Adobe Premiere, we could have used like Movie Maker, which is just your basics that you get on the computer, but we wouldn't have been able to edit it to the professional standard that we have done. WordPress, which we used to organise all of our posts and all of our work that we had done, has been so much easier than using like a paper file and folder. Everything is there at a click of a button, whereas on a paper copy, pages can get torn, things can get lost, and it's so much more quicker and accessible. If we hadn't have used these industry standard technologies, we wouldn't have been able to compete with the market out there of short films. For example, Pixar, it takes them years to produce these and they get such big hits on YouTube and online, and they win so many competitions. If we had just done it on a standard camera and not many platforms used, we wouldn't have been able to compete with those. For both of ourselves, we would have had a bad reputation because we have produced on like good quality stuff and used good quality media platforms and technologies. We've gained a good reputation for ourselves. Also just the overall finish, it wouldn't have looked professional, it would have looked cheap and it would have looked tacky, and we wouldn't have been able, it would be embarrassing. So yes, industry standard technologies are very important and have made our project much better.